Hello everyone and welcome. In today's video we're going to be talking about the Regista role in Football Manager, and let's get started with an overview of the role. The Regista is a defensive midfield playmaker. Only available on the support duty, they look to influence the match with their passing, looking for that one opportunity to unlock the defense. They have complete freedom to move around the field, and during the attacking phase will often follow the ball as if they're tethered to it. In this attacking highlight, you can see my Regista moving around the midfield, looking for pockets of space to be effective while my backline retains possession. My wide center back makes a forward run with the ball, which draws in the defense. This allows my Regista to find a small bit of space and then immediately hit a one-time pass for the scoring chance. Even though they're a defensive midfielder, they will go wherever needed to create a scoring chance. Look at this passing map from one of my matches and you can see how expansive his range is. This player has a roam from position player instruction, and this is the main difference between a Regista and a deep lying playmaker. While the Regista can roam from their position as the player instruction indicates, a deep lying playmaker has hold their position as a special player instruction. So while they both fulfill the same basic playmaking duties, one can roam from their position and the other will hold it. In defense, the Regista can make attempts to close down the ball, but their skill set is often much more suited for making plays rather than stopping the opponent. And since he's much more concerned with the attack, this can lead to lapses in concentration on the defensive end. Here, when the opponent counters, the Regista makes a half-hearted attempt to close down the ball and would rather his teammates make the tackle. But something to keep in mind is player attributes like work rate, determination, and teamwork can all influence how hard they close down the ball in a situation like that. And this applies to every role in the game, not just the Regista. Next, let's look at some tactics. And I have two formations that I like to use, and I have two team examples. One in a lower league and then one in a top league. First, let's go to the Norwegian 2nd Division and my team with Oslo. This is a semi-professional team, and we actually just missed out on promotion, losing in the playoff final. The tactic is a 4-2-3-1 with simple team instructions that help us keep possession to ensure we're not bypassing the Regista with too many wayward passes. And speaking of, my Regista is Robin Rash. Some of the key attributes you want to look for in this role are passing, vision, anticipation, first touch, and off the ball. Also, Robin has some of the best player traits you could ask for in a Regista. Tries killer balls often, comes deep to get the ball, dictates tempo, and tries long-range passes. Back to the tactic, I paired him with a ball-winning midfielder on defend duty. I chose this role because if you read the description of the ball-winning midfielder, he looks to win the ball in the center of the midfield and quickly lay it off to a more creative player. This is exactly what I want. I want him to win the ball back and then lay it off quickly to the Regista. Here's an example of this from one of our matches. The opponent is trying to play it out from the back, and they work the ball into the midfield. When this happens, my ball-winning midfielder immediately makes the tackle, and just like that, the ball is back to the Regista. With the other players in the tactic, the Regista needs players in front of him making attacking runs. I would recommend at least 2 players in front of him on an attack duty to make sure you're pressuring the defense enough. I'm using a winger on attack and an advanced forward on attack, in addition to the wingback on the flank. In this match against Moss, Robin picked up an early injury, so his replacement came in. In this play, we're working the ball around as we advanced up the field. The winger makes his move towards the goal and receives maybe the most aesthetically pleasing pass I've ever had in Football Manager. For the second formation, we're in Serie A and the club Fiorentina. We're using a 3-4-3 formation with Arthur as our primary Regista. We finished 4th, beating Juventus on the last day to secure a Champions League place. If we look at the Fiorentina tactic, you can see that it's very simple. I actually only have 4 team instructions, and that's mainly again due to the Regista wanting to keep possession of the ball. But this time I wanted to use a back 3 so I could use a more aggressive defensive midfield partner. With a Segundo Volante, we now have a player making those runs from deep. In this goal versus Torino, my Regista is still dictating the tempo, but now we have the Segundo Volante in the box to get that pullback pass. And the last note on formations is a personal preference of mine, which you are free to ignore if you'd like, But that is in a back four. I don't like running a Regista in a single defensive midfield formation. So for example, a 4-3-3 has a back four but only one defensive midfielder. If this defensive midfielder is a Regista, we've seen how much he roams from his position, and this can leave your back line exposed. So I want another player helping to provide defensive cover. Now that can be another defensive midfielder like in a 4-2-3-1, or it can be another center back like in the 3-4-3 example. And we get to the last section, some player examples. For the lower league player, we're heading to South America and the Colombian 2nd Division. We're at Bogota FC and our player is Carlos Zambrano. Even though he's a youth player, he already has borderline elite first touch, passing, technique, and decisions. He does have very low off the ball, flair, and dribbling, but with playing time, special player instructions, and a good training regimen, he could really be a solid player in a few years, especially coming from the lower leagues. For the top level player and the youth prospect, we're actually heading to the same club in England, Manchester United. For the top level player, Christian Eriksen has world-class abilities in first touch, passing, technique, vision, decisions, and teamwork, and he has the player traits, tries killer balls often, and comes deep to get the ball. But the greatest attribute of all is that he's a model citizen. The model citizen personality is like gold in Football Manager because not only does it help with your locker room atmosphere, but you can also mentor youth players. When you have senior level players like Christian Eriksen, who has that model citizen personality, he can mentor the youth players and positively influence their personality and pass on player traits. He can influence youth players like Kobbie Mainoo, for example. Mainoo is a prospect who can already start in the Premier League at only 18 years old. He has great technical skills needed for the Regista, including dribbling, first touch, passing, and technique, and his mentals are off the chart as well. So that means if you want to try a Regista in a new save, you may have to go to Manchester United whether you like it or not. Anyway, that is all for today's video. Thank you for watching.